The United Earth ship Titan hung in space like a gleaming silver dagger, its kilometer-long hull bristling with sensor arrays and weapon ports. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the holographic displays that surrounded her command chair. The Titan was humanity's crowning achievement, a supercarrier capable of projecting power across vast stretches of space, and the flagship of the United Earth Fleet. Status report. Vasquez called out, her voice calm but tinged with anticipation. This was the Titan's maiden voyage beyond the fringes of known space, a mission of exploration and diplomacy that carried the hopes and dreams of all humanity. Lieutenant Commander Rajesh Patel, the ship's sensor officer, responded promptly. All systems nominal, Captain. We're picking up some unusual energy signatures about half a light year out. It doesn't match anything in our database. Vasquez leaned forward, her interest piqued. Could it be a natural phenomenon? Negative, Captain, Patel replied, his fingers dancing over his console. The energy patterns are too regular, too controlled. I think we might be looking at signs of an advanced civilization. A hush fell over the bridge as the implications of Patel's words sank in. Humanity had long wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now it seemed they might finally have their answer. Plot an intercept course, Vasquez ordered, her voice steady despite the excitement coursing through her veins. But keep us at a safe distance. We don't want to appear threatening. As the Titan glided through space, its massive fusion drives pulsing with barely contained power, the crew prepared for first contact. Sinolinguists pored over possible communication protocols, while the ship's advanced AI systems stood ready to analyze any incoming transmissions. Hours passed, tension mounting with each passing minute. Then, suddenly, they appeared. Contact, Patel shouted. Multiple vessels decloaking dead ahead. The main view screen flared to life, revealing a breathtaking sight. A fleet of sleek, organic-looking ships hung in space before them, their hulls shimmering with an iridescent glow that seemed to defy the laws of physics. My God, Vasquez whispered, awe evident in her voice. They're beautiful. The alien ships were indeed a sight to behold, but as Vasquez studied them more closely, she noticed something else. Despite their aesthetic appeal, there was something undeniably martial about their design. These were warships, bristling with weapon emplacements that put even the Titan's formidable armament to shame. We're being hailed, Communications Officer Sarah Chen announced, her voice tight with nervous energy. Vasquez took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. This was the moment they had trained for, the reason the Titan had been built. On screen, she commanded. The view screen flickered, and a face appeared, if it could be called a face. The alien was vaguely humanoid, with glistening blue-green skin and multifaceted eyes that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. When it spoke, its voice was a harmonious blend of tones that the ship's translation matrix struggled to interpret. Unknown vessel, the alien said, its words appearing as subtitles beneath its image. You have entered Zorax space. Identify yourselves and state your purpose. Vasquez stepped forward, her chin held high. I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earth ship Titan. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge. The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to narrow, if such a thing were possible. We are unfamiliar with your species, human. Your vessel. It is impressive, for such an unknown race. There was something in the alien's tone that set Vasquez on edge. Pride, perhaps. Or was it disdain? We are a curious people, Vasquez replied carefully. We built the Titan to explore the stars, to seek out new civilizations such as yours. The alien, the Zorax, seemed to consider this for a moment. Curious, indeed. Yet you come armed for war. Your ship bristles with weapons. Human, are these the tools of peaceful exploration? Vasquez felt a bead of sweat form on her brow. This was delicate territory. We arm ourselves for defense only, she explained. The universe can be a dangerous place, but we assure you, Our intentions are peaceful. The Zorax made a sound that might have been laughter, but it sent chills down Vasquez's spine. Peace, it said, the word dripping with skepticism. A noble sentiment. But in our experience, true peace comes only from strength. Perhaps you would care to demonstrate the capabilities of your vessel. Vasquez hesitated. Was this a trap, a test, or a genuine offer to showcase human technology? Before she could respond, alarms blared across the Titan's bridge. "Captain," Patel shouted, "we're detecting massive energy buildup from the Zorax fleet. They're charging weapons." Vasquez's mind raced. Had they misinterpreted something? Made some crucial diplomatic blunder? Or were the Zorax simply looking for an excuse to attack? "Shields up," she ordered, her training kicking in. "Bring all defensive systems online. But do not, I repeat, do not charge weapons." The Titan's powerful shields shimmer, ate into existence just as the first Zorax energy beams lashed out. The impacts were staggering, sending tremors through the massive ship. "Shields holding at 92%, reported the tactical officer, a note of surprise in his voice. On the view screen, the Zorax commander's expression was unreadable. "Impressive," it said. "Your defenses are more robust than we anticipated. Perhaps you are not as primitive as we first thought." Vasquez's eyes narrowed. "We told you our intentions were peaceful," she said, a hint of steel entering her voice. Was this attack necessary to prove that point? The Zorax made that unsettling laughing sound again. "Necessary? Perhaps not. Informative? Absolutely. You've piqued our interest, humans. Let us continue this discussion. There is much we would like to learn about you and your impressive vessel." As the Zorax ships powered down their weapons, Vasquez couldn't shake the feeling that they had just passed some sort of test. The first contact had not gone as smoothly as they had hoped, but they were still here, still talking. It was a start. "Very well," Vasquez said, forcing a diplomatic smile. "We're eager to learn about your people as well. Shall we arrange a formal meeting?" As arrangements were made for a delegation to board the Titan, Vasquez couldn't help but wonder what other surprises this encounter might hold. The Zorax were clearly a powerful and technologically advanced species, but they were also unpredictable, perhaps even dangerous. One thing was certain: the Titan and her crew would need every ounce of skill, courage, and ingenuity they possessed to navigate the challenges that lay ahead. The future of human-alien relations hung in the balance, and the might of the human supercarrier would be put to the ultimate test. The Zorax Challenge. The observation lounge of the UES Titan hummed with tension as Captain Elena Vasquez faced the Zorax delegation. The aliens' iridescent skin seemed to pulse with barely contained energy, their multifaceted eyes reflecting the stars visible through the panoramic windows. "We appreciate your willingness to continue our dialogue," Vasquez said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "However, I must express our concern over your unprovoked attack. It's not the best way to begin diplomatic relations." The lead Zorax, who had introduced itself as High Commander Zixar, made a rippling motion that might have been a shrug. "We meant no lasting harm, Captain. It is simply our way to assess potential allies or threats." Dr. Ilara Wong, the Titan's chief xenobiologist, leaned forward, her eyes bright with curiosity. "Fascinating. So this type of challenge is a cultural norm for your species?" Zixar's multifaceted eyes swiveled towards her. "Indeed, the universe is vast and often hostile. We have found it prudent to quickly determine the capabilities of those we encounter." Vasquez frowned. "And if we had failed your test, would you have destroyed us?" The silence that followed was answer enough. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Chen, the Titan's tactical officer, cleared his throat. "Perhaps we could arrange a more controlled demonstration of our respective capabilities. A simulated battle, perhaps." Zixar's skin rippled with what seemed to be excitement. "An excellent suggestion. We accept this challenge. It will allow us to truly measure the might of your supercarrier." As the details of the simulation were hammered out, Vasquez couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The Zoracs were clearly a militaristic species, and their eagerness for this contest was unsettling. Later, in the privacy of her ready room, Vasquez convened a meeting with her senior staff. "Thoughts?" she asked, looking around at the assembled officers. Dr. Wong spoke first. The Zoracs seemed to value strength above all else. This simulation isn't just a game to them. It's how they judge our worth as a species. Chen nodded grimly. Agreed. And based on what we've seen of their technology, we're in for one hell of a fight. But we have advantages they don't know about, interjected Lieutenant Zora Okoro, the ship's chief engineer. Her dark eyes gleamed with determination. The Titan's adaptive shield matrix, the phased plasma cannons, not to mention our quantum entanglement targeting system. Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. The Titan was indeed full of surprises, the product of humanity's finest minds and most advanced technologies. "All right," she said, her voice filled with resolve. "We'll give them a fight they won't forget. But remember, this isn't just about winning. We need to show the Zoracs that there's more to humanity than just our military prowess." As the team dispersed to make preparations, Vasquez found herself standing before the large viewport in her ready room, staring out at the alien fleet that hung in space alongside the Titan. The Zorac ships were undeniably beautiful, their organic curves and shimmering hulls, a stark contrast to the utilitarian design of human vessels. A chime at her door interrupted her reverie. "Enter," she called. It was Chen, his usually stoic face creased with concern. "Captain, I've been analyzing the Zorac's fleet compositions and running simulations. Even with all our advanced tech, this fight is going to be close. Too close." Vasquez nodded slowly. "I suspected as much. What are you thinking, Marcus?" The tactical officer hesitated for a moment. "We need an edge, something they won't see coming. I have an idea, but it's risky. Potentially in violation of several UE protocols." A wry smile tugged at Vasquez's lips. "We're about to engage in simulated combat with an alien species we just met. I think we're well past worrying about protocols. What's your plan?" As Chen outlined his strategy, Vasquez felt a mixture of admiration and apprehension. It was audacious, possibly even reckless. But if it worked, "Do it," she said finally, "but keep it quiet. The fewer people who know, the better." Chen saluted sharply and left, leaving Vasquez alone with her thoughts once more. The next day, as final preparations were made for the simulated battle, tension aboard the Titan reached a fever pitch. Crew members hurried through the corridors, running last-minute diagnostics and tweaking systems for optimal performance. In the ship's massive hangar bay, squadron leaders briefed their pilots. The sleek shapes of Raptor-class space superiority fighters and Valkyrie bomber drones stood ready, their pilots a mix of humans and AIs, each bringing unique strengths to the coming fight. On the bridge, Vasquez settled into her command chair, feeling the familiar thrum of the ship's powerful engines beneath her feet. Around her, her crew worked with focused intensity, each a master of their domain. "All systems ready, Captain," reported Okoro from her engineering station. The Titans primed and eager for a fight. Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Lieutenant. But if it does..." She left the thought unfinished, but the crew understood. If push came to shove, they would show the Zoracs exactly what humanity was capable of. A communication from the Zoracs flagship lit up the main view screen. High Commander Zixar's alien features filled the display. "Are you prepared, Captain Vasquez?" the alien asked, its harmonious voice tinged with what might have been anticipation. Vasquez met its gaze steadily. "We are, High Commander. May the best species win." Zixar made a gesture that might have been a nod. "Indeed. Remember, Captain, this simulation will use real weapons and defenses, merely adjusted to prevent actual damage. The stakes, however, are very real." The future relations between our peoples may well depend on the outcome of this encounter. As the view screen went dark, Vasquez took a deep breath, looking around at her crew. Each face showed a mixture of determination and nervousness. They all understood the weight of responsibility that rested on their shoulders. "All right, people," Vasquez said, her voice ringing with authority. "This is what we've trained for. The Zorax may have numbers and advanced tech on their side, but we have something they don't: human ingenuity and adaptability. Let's show them what the UES Titan and her crew can do." A chorus of affirmatives rang out across the bridge. Vasquez settled back in her chair, her eyes fixed on the main view screen where the Zorax fleet hung in space, poised and ready. In mere moments, those beautiful, deadly ships would be coming at them with everything they had. "Tactical, sound battle stations," she ordered. "Helm, assume combat maneuvering. Weapons, stand by, but do not fire until my command." As klaxons blared throughout the ship and crew members raced to their posts, Vasquez allowed herself one last moment of reflection. Whatever happened in the next few hours would shape the course of human history. First contact had been made, and now, for better or worse, humanity was about to make its stand among the stars. "All hands," she said, her voice carried to every corner of the massive ship. "Prepare for combat simulation. May fortune favor the bold." With that, the UES Titan and her crew steeled themselves for the challenge that lay ahead, ready to prove the might of humanity's supercarrier and the indomitable spirit of the human rack. Battle of wits and steel. The vast emptiness of space erupted into a dazzling display of light and energy as the simulated battle between the UES Titan and the Zorax fleet began. Captain Alina Vasquez gripped the arms of her command chair, her eyes darting between the tactical holodisplays surrounding her. "Evasive pattern Delta 3, she ordered calmly. "Tactical, initiate point defense protocols. Let's see what they've got." The Titan moved with surprising agility for a ship of its size, its massive bulk weaving through the oncoming storm of Zorax energy weapons. Simulated impacts flashed against the carrier's shields, the ship's computers precisely calculating the theoretical damage. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Chen's fingers danced across his tactical console. "Shields holding at 89%, Captain. Their weapons are impressive, but our adaptive matrix is compensating." Vasquez nodded, a grim smile on her face. "Good. Now let's return the favor. Launch fighter squadrons Alpha through Delta. Weapons, target the lead Zorax cruiser with phased plasma cannons." The space around the Titan came alive with swarms of smaller craft, Raptor fighters and Valkyrie bombers streaking towards the Zorax fleet. Meanwhile, the carrier's main weapons powered up, lances of superheated plasma arcing towards the alien vessels. On the main view screen, Vasquez watched as the Zorax ships executed a series of breathtakingly complex maneuvers. Their formation shifted and flowed like a living thing, individual ships moving in perfect harmony to present the smallest possible target profile. "Impressive," murmured Dr. Wong from her station. "Their level of coordination is remarkable, almost as if they're sharing a hive mind." Finished Vasquez, the realization hitting her. "Tactical, adjust targeting parameters. They're moving as one unit, so we need to think of them that way too." As the battle raged on, it became clear that the Zorax held a significant advantage. Their hive mind allowed them to react instantly to every human move, countering tactics almost before they were executed. "Shields down to 62%, reported Chen, his voice tense. "We're taking a beating, Captain." Vasquez's mind raced. They needed to change the game, to do something the Zorax couldn't predict. "Lieutenant Okoro," she called out, "remember that theoretical application of quantum field manipulation we discussed?" The engineer's eyes widened. "The one that could potentially create localized pockets of altered spacetime. But Captain, it's completely untested, and the power requirements. Can our systems handle it?" Vasquez interrupted. Okoro hesitated for a moment, then nodded firmly. Yes, Ma'am. We'll have to divert power from non-essential systems, but we can do it. Make it happen, Vasquez ordered. Then, turning to her tactical officer, Commander Chen, prepared to execute Operation Trojan Horse. As Okoro's team worked feverishly to bring the experimental system online, the battle continued to rage. The Titans' fighter squadrons darted in and out of the Zorax formation, causing confusion and disruption, but the alien ship's superior numbers were beginning to tell. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Sarah Chen from communications, "we're receiving a transmission from High Commander Zixar." The Zorax leader's face appeared on the view screen, its multifaceted eyes gleaming with what might have been admiration. "You fight well, humans," it said. "But surely you must see that resistance is futile. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." Vasquez stood, facing the alien with steely determination. "We appreciate your offer, High Commander, but humanity doesn't surrender. We're not done yet." As the transmission cut off, Okoro's voice rang out across the bridge. "Quantum field manipulator online, Captain." "Excellent," Vasquez said, a predatory grin spreading across her face. "Tactical. Initiate Operation Trojan Horse. Helm, on my mark. Execute Maneuver Omega-7. The Titan suddenly ceased all evasive actions, appearing to limp as if critically damaged. As the Zorax fleet moved in for the kill, Vasquez waited, every muscle tense. "Now," she shouted. In an instant, several things happened at once. The Titan's damaged systems roared back to life as the ship executed a maneuver that should have been impossible for a vessel of its size. Simultaneously, the quantum field manipulator activated, creating bubbles of distorted spacetime around key Zorax ships. The alien vessels, suddenly finding themselves out of sync with the rest of their fleet, faltered in their attack. In that moment of confusion, the Titan struck. Phased plasma cannons and swarms of missiles struck with pinpoint accuracy, exploiting weak points in the Zorax defenses that had been identified over the course of the battle. "Direct hits on multiple targets," Chen reported, unable to keep the excitement out of his voice. "Their fleet coordination is disrupted. They're in disarray." Vasquez allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before refocusing. "Press the advantage. All fighters, engage at will. Tactical, target their flagship with everything we've got." The tide of battle had turned. The Zorax, their greatest strength neutralized, found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned by the smaller but more versatile human forces. Raptor fighters darted between the larger alien ships, striking with surgical precision, while the Titan's main batteries pounded the Zorax flagship relentlessly. After what seemed like an eternity, but was in reality only a few minutes, a signal came through from the Zorax fleet. "We concede," came High Commander Zixar's voice, a mixture of disbelief and respect evident in its harmonious tones. "The simulation is over. You have bested us, humans." As the simulated combat faded away, leaving both fleets intact, a cheer went up from the Titan's crew. Vasquez let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding, feeling the tension of battle drain from her body. "Well done, everyone," she said, her pride in her crew evident. That was one for the history books. As the adrenaline of combat faded, Vasquez found herself reflecting on the battle and its implications. Yes, they had won, but at what cost? The level of technology and tactical acumen displayed by both sides was staggering. If this had been a real conflict, the destruction would have been catastrophic. "Captain," said Dr. Wong, approaching Vasquez with a thoughtful expression, "I've been analyzing the battle data. The Zorax tactics, their technology. There's so much we could learn from each other." Vasquez nodded slowly. "You're right, Doctor. And perhaps that's the real victory here. Not that we won, but that we now have an opportunity for meaningful exchange." As if on cue, a communication came through from the Zorax flagship. High Commander Zixar's alien features filled the view screen once more, but this time there was a new respect in its gaze. Captain Vasquez, it said, its voice carrying a hint of what might have been admiration. You and your crew have proven yourselves worthy adversaries, and perhaps worthy allies. We would be honored to continue our discussions on a more equal footing. Vasquez smiled, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. We would be delighted, High Commander. I believe we have much to learn from one another. As preparations began for a new round of diplomatic talks, Vasquez couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. The battle had been won not just with advanced technology and clever tactics, but with human ingenuity and adaptability. In proving their worth to the Zorax, humanity had also proven something to themselves. They were ready for the challenges that awaited them among the stars. And with potential new allies at their side, the future looked brighter than ever. Aftermath and revelations. The observation lounge of the UES Titan buzzed with an air of cautious optimism as human and Zorax delegates gathered in the aftermath of the simulated battle. Captain Alina Vasquez stood at the head of the long table, flanked by her senior staff. Across from them, High Commander Zixar and its entourage settled into their seats, their iridescent skin shimmering under the room's soft lighting. Before we begin, Vasquez said, her voice carrying a note of formal diplomacy, I want to express our gratitude for this opportunity to engage in peaceful dialogue. The simulation proved that while we may have our differences, we also have much in common. Zixar's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with something akin to amusement. Indeed, Captain, your species has proven to be full of surprises. We are eager to learn more about your people and your impressive technology. As the meeting progressed, both sides shared insights from the battle. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Chin presented a detailed analysis of Zorax battle tactics, while his alien counterpart, Sub-Commander Vexlor, expounded on the intricacies of human strategic thinking. Dr. Ilara Wong leaned forward, her eyes bright with curiosity. High Commander, if I may, during the battle, we observed an extraordinary level of coordination among your ships, almost as if they were of one mind. How is this achieved? Zixar made a rippling motion that Vasquez had come to recognize as their equivalent of a nod. Perceptive, Dr. Wong. We Zorax share a collective consciousness, a hive mind of sorts. It allows for unparalleled coordination in battle and in all aspects of our society. A murmur of excitement ran through the human delegation. The implications of such technology were staggering. However, Zixar continued, its tone growing more serious. This connection also makes us vulnerable in ways you humans are not, a fact that has become increasingly relevant in recent times. Vasquez leaned forward, sensing a shift in the conversation. What do you mean, High Commander? Zixar seemed to hesitate, its skin rippling with what might have been uncertainty. Then, with a gesture that seemed almost resigned, it activated a holographic projector in the center of the table. A three-dimensional star map flickered into existence, showing a vast swath of the galaxy. Dozens of systems were highlighted in pulsing red. What you see before you, Zixar explained, its harmonic voice tinged with gravity, are the worlds we have lost in the past solar cycle. Lost to an enemy that defies comprehension, an adversary that threatens not just the Zorax, but all sentient life in the galaxy. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Vasquez studied the map, her mind racing. This enemy, who are they? What do they want? We call them the Void Hunters, Zixar replied, the name sending a chill through the room. They are not a species as you or I would understand it. They are something else, a cosmic horror that exists between the stars, feeding on the very essence of sentient minds. Dr. Wong's face paled. And with your hive mind, we are a veritable feast for them, Zixar finished grimly. Our collective consciousness, once our greatest strength, has become our greatest vulnerability. Vasquez's mind whirled with the implications. This wasn't just about proving humanity's worth or forging an alliance anymore. They were facing an existential threat to all life in the galaxy. High Commander, she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "I think it's clear that we need to pool our resources and knowledge. The Void Hunters threaten us all, and we stand a better chance facing them together than apart." Zixar's multifaceted eyes seemed to bore into Vasquez. "You would stand with us against this threat, even knowing the danger it poses." Vasquez stood, her posture radiating determination. "High Commander, humanity has faced its share of challenges throughout our history. We've stared into the abyss more than once, but every time, we've come out stronger. We don't run from fights, especially when the stakes are this high." A ripple of agreement ran through the human delegation. Even those who had been skeptical of the Zorax earlier now wore expressions of resolve. Zixar was silent for a long moment, its alien features unreadable. Then, slowly, it extended a limb towards Vasquez in what was clearly a gesture of alliance. "Then let it be so. From this day forward, the Zorax Collective and the United Earth stand as one against the darkness that threatens us all." As Vasquez clasped the alien appendage, sealing their newfound alliance, she couldn't help but marvel at the turn of events. They had come to this distant part of space, seeking new civilizations, and instead found themselves on the brink of an intergalactic war against an enemy beyond imagination. The meeting continued long into the night as both sides shared what they knew about the Void Hunters. The Zorax provided star charts showing the enemy's movement patterns, while the humans offered insights into potential defenses against psychic attacks. As the session finally wound down, Vasquez found herself standing once again at the observation window, gazing out at the stars. Dr. Wong joined her, her face a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "It's ironic, isn't it?" the xenobiologist mused. "We came out here looking for new life, new civilizations, and we found them, along with a threat that could wipe us all out." Vasquez nodded thoughtfully. "True, but we've also found allies. Partners. Maybe that's the key to facing this threat. Coming together, pooling our strengths." "Do you think we can win?" Wong asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Vasquez turned to face her, a determined glint in her eye. "I don't know, Doctor. But I do know this. Humanity didn't come this far, didn't build ships like the Titan, to give up at the first sign of a cosmic horror. We'll find a way. We always do." As if in response to her words, the Titan's engines thrummed to life, a deep, reassuring pulse that seemed to resonate with Vasquez's very being. They had a long, dangerous road ahead of them, but they wouldn't face it alone. Humanity had proven itself among the stars. Now, it was time to prove they could save them. A new era dawns. The vast expanse of space shimmered with an otherworldly energy as the combined fleet of human and Zorax ships dropped out of FTL. At the forefront, the UES Titan loomed large, its hull now adorned with a curious blend of human and Zorax technology, a visible symbol of the alliance forged in the face of cosmic horror. On the Titan's bridge, Captain Elena Vasquez stood tall, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. Beside her, the holographic form of High Commander Zixar flickered, its multifaceted eyes scanning the same stellar vista. "Long-range sensors are active, Captain," reported Lieutenant Commander Pedal from his station. "No sign of Void Hunter activity yet, but there's something strange about the quantum signatures in this sector." Vasquez nodded grimly. "They're here. We can't see them yet, but they're here." She turned to the shimmering form of her Zorax counterpart. "High Commander, is your fleet ready?" Zixar's skin rippled with what Vasquez had come to recognize as determination. "We stand ready, Captain Vasquez. Our minds are shielded, our weapons primed. We face the abyss together." The weeks following the revelation of the Void Hunter threat had been a whirlwind of activity. Humans and Zorax had worked tirelessly, combining their technologies and knowledge to prepare for this moment. The Titan had been retrofitted with Zorax psychic shielding, while the alien ships now bristled with human quantum weaponry. Dr. Ilara Wong approached the captain, her face a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "Captain, the prototype is ready. If our theories are correct, it should disrupt the Void Hunter's trans-dimensional matrix. Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. The prototype was the culmination of human ingenuity and Zorak's insight, a device that could potentially turn the tide against an enemy that defied conventional warfare. Excellent work, Doctor. Let's hope it's enough. As if on cue, alarms blared across the bridge. Contact, shouted Patel, his fingers flying over his console. Multiple Void Hunter signatures materializing off our port bow. The view screen flickered, showing a sight that chilled Vasquez to her core. Vast, shapeless entities seemed to coalesce out of the very fabric of space, their forms defying logic and sanity. Tendrils of dark energy lashed out, reaching for the Allied fleet. All ships, execute Battle Plan Omega, Vasquez commanded, her voice steady despite the terror clawing at the edges of her mind. Zorak's vessels, initiate psychic jamming. Human ships, quantum barrage on my mark. The space around them erupted into chaos. Zorak's ships pulsed with waves of psychic energy, creating a protective bubble around the fleet. Human vessels unleashed salvos of quantum torpedoes, their warheads designed to disrupt the very fabric of reality that the Void Hunters inhabited. On the Titan's bridge, crew members fought not just against an external enemy, but against the creeping tendrils of madness that the Void Hunters projected. Vasquez gritted her teeth, feeling the pressure against her mind. Status report, she called out, her voice strained. Shields at 72% and holding, reported Chen from Tactical. Quantum weapons are having an effect, but it's minimal. The Void Hunters are adapting. Vasquez turned to Dr. Wong. It's time, Doctor. Activate the prototype. Wong nodded, her face set with determination as she input a series of commands into her console. Deep within the Titan's hull, the prototype hummed to life, its exotic energies building to a crescendo. Prototype active, Wong announced. Transmitting activation codes to the fleet now. Across the battlefield, human and Zorak ships alike powered up identical devices, their combined energy creating a web of scintillating light that spread across the sector. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent scream that resonated in the minds of every being present, the Void Hunters recoiled. Their amorphous forms began to twist and contort, as if being pulled apart by unseen forces. It's working, exclaimed Patel. The Void Hunters' trans-dimensional matrices are destabilizing. They're being forced back into their own realm. Vasquez leaned forward, her eyes blazing with fierce determination. This is our chance. All ships, concentrate fire on the rifts. Don't let them regroup. The combined fleet unleashed everything they had. Quantum torpedoes, psychic lances, and weapons beyond human understanding streaked across space, striking the weakened Void Hunters. One by one, the cosmic horrors winked out of existence, their unearthly shrieks fading into the void. As the last Void Hunter vanished, a stunned silence fell over the bridge. It was broken by the sound of Zixar's harmonic voice, filled with a mixture of awe and relief. We did it. The Void Hunters are gone. Cheers erupted across the fleet as the realization of their victory sank in. Vasquez allowed herself a moment of elation before turning to address her crew and allies. This is a historic moment, she said, her voice carrying to every ship in the fleet. Human and Zorax, working together, have faced down a threat to all sentient life in the galaxy. But our work is not done. The Void Hunters may return, and there are still stars to explore, civilizations to meet. She paused, looking out at the vast expanse of space before them. Today marks the beginning of a new era, an era of cooperation, of pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Together, we've proven that we can overcome any challenge, face any horror that the universe might throw at us. As Vasquez's words rang out across the fleet, a sense of hope and possibility seemed to fill the air. The crew of the Titan, once strangers in a vast and often hostile universe, now stood as part of something greater, a coalition of species united in their quest for knowledge and their determination to safeguard all sentient life. In the days that followed, as the fleet made its way back to Earth, plans were already being drawn up. Joint research initiatives, cultural exchange programs, and combined exploration missions were all on the table. The Titan, once solely a symbol of human achievement, now stood as a beacon of interspecies cooperation. As Earth came into view, a blue jewel suspended in the vastness of space, Vasquez found herself once again standing in the observation lounge with Dr. Wong and the holographic form of High Commander Zixar. "It's beautiful," Zixar said, its multifaceted eyes taking in the sight of humanity's homeworld. Vasquez nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "It is. And now, thanks to our alliance, it's safer than ever." "What comes next, Captain?" Dr. Wong asked, her eyes shining with the prospect of new discoveries. Vasquez gestured to the stars beyond. "We go back out there, Doctor. We explore. We learn. We grow. But this time, we do it together." As the Titan began its approach to Earth, Vasquez couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and anticipation. They had come so far, achieved so much, but she knew that this was just the beginning. The might of the human supercarrier had been proven, not just in battle, but in its ability to bridge gaps between civilizations and face down the greatest threats the universe had to offer. A new era had indeed dawned, and humanity, standing shoulder to shoulder with their new allies, was ready to meet it head-on.